Alright, so I've been kind of thinking about how classes transfer from World of Warcraft to ESO, and how to generally recreate the class fantasy that you had in World of Warcraft into ESO. I just think ESO is a better game, and I like the class fantasy with some of the characters I had in World of Warcraft. So I'm like, you know what? I want to recreate them. And I'm just kind of going through this. Not all of these are perfect, and they're not necessarily the best way to do the way you picture the class itself. So I'll give a couple options for each of them. Or most of them, at least. The Hunter, starting there. You could run, say, a bow-based sorcerer with a... So you summon your pets up, and then you shoot with a bow, and you have two pets. You could run might work as a bow Nightblade. You don't get the pets, but you do get an ability that's literally called Hunter's Mark, or I think, or was it Assassinate? But it's basically Hunter's Mark. And then there is the Bow Warden, which is the best one in my opinion. Literally, the whole stick of it is you use a bow to attack, and you summon animals to attack too. Next, we have the Paladin. The Paladin is the only way I can really do this one, I think, is a stamina-based Templar. Only way I can think of to really do the Paladin fantasy is that particular variant, whether you go two-handed or sword and board, or even dual wield, which doesn't, I know the World of Warcraft doesn't allow you to do, but you could do a dual wield stamina Templar and still more or less fill the same fantasy. Next, we have the Warlock. Now, for a bunch of temporary pets, you'd go the Mag Necromancer. Still has the very dark feel. If your class fantasy was more about the destruction tree and you just like destroying everything, fire and death being rained upon your enemies, maybe a Dragon Knight built correctly could fulfill that. But the best one, in my opinion, is the pet-based Magicka Sorcerer. You summon your two pets, shoot your dark magic and lightning-based abilities, and that's pretty much how you play that particular character. Next, we have the Mage, and with the Mage, really absolutely any Magicka-based character will do, using a Destruction Staff. Though some very particular ones that would work better are the Mag Dragon Knight and the Mag Sorcerer. Mag Dragon Knight if you're more into fire and death, and Mag Sorcerer really does a lot of lightning damage everywhere, which I know isn't a spec in World of Warcraft, but it does feel very like arcane power kind of thing. You could, however, do, say, a Mag Frost Warden, though I wouldn't recommend it, as most of the skills within the Frost Warden tree are mostly focused on CC and tanking. Next, we have the Warrior. The Warrior is pretty much any stamina-based class. The only one I can recommend that says that maybe might be a little bit above the rest would be the Stam Dragon Knight, as you get more shouting and such abilities that just kind of feel as if you are roaring to increase your power, things like that. And just fulfill that more of that raw power fantasy. Next, we have the Priest. The Priest will really work with anything with a restoration staff, especially, unless, of course, you're focusing on Shadow Priest, but we'll get into that. That said, there are different ways of doing this. For instance, a Mag Blade works really well if you run it with a Resto Staff. It could be a really good healer and more of a disciplined healer rather than a holy healer. Or you could run it with a restoration staff and a destruction staff, and very much be a PvP kind of shadow sorcerer. There's the Mag Sorcerer, the Mag Necro. Each of those kind of fulfill something a bit closer to the shadow base spec. But the one that does the best, and the best holy overall, is definitely the Magicka-based Templar. Because, well, light, heal, and a lot of it. Next, I'm going to go with the Death Knight. The Death Knight, which is actually my favorite class right now, and really is the Necromancer, the Stamina Necromancer specifically. Absolute best way to do it. Though, if you don't really like the Stamina Necromancer for some reason, maybe there are other ways you could kind of do it. A Frost Warden. Again, you're mostly going to be focused on CCs and things like that, and you more or less end up forcing yourself into the tank role. But it is a way of doing the whole Warden thing. And still kind of fulfilling that Frost Death Knight kind of feel. The other way is maybe if you ran a heavy Nightblade, you'd kind of end up forcing yourself into a tank role, as most of the abilities that would kind of twist you in that direction, especially heavy armor, tends to be tank or perhaps more of a melee-based PvP class. Though you would feel very much like you're siphoning the energy off of your enemies and using it to heal yourself, so that does in a way fuel your more of your blood-based kind of spec. Though my favorite spec was always Unholy, which Stam Necromancer definitely fulfills best. Okay, next we have the Druid, and for the Druid, you gotta either go with a Mag Warden or a Resto Warden. Really, there is nothing else really that fulfills the Druid fantasy. Primarily because there's nothing that lets you change shape, unless, of course, you want to be a werewolf. But the Mag Warden, you're summoning a bunch of pets to do a bunch of damage, and then the Resto Warden fits it even better because you're literally summoning plants to heal people the same way that a Druid heals people in World of Warcraft. Now we're going to go into the Shaman. The Shaman really doesn't have anything that specifically goes with it. You could, for instance, go a Stamina Sorcerer, which would definitely be your enhancement tree. You know, up close and personal, enhance your weapons with lightning and attack. Though, just as theoretically, you could go a Stamina Dragon Knight and enhance with fire. So, because this game very much specializes in different elements, whereas World of Warcraft had the Shaman, which specialized just a little in all elements. It's kind of a different ball game, really. That said, you could also go with so the Lightning Sorcerer, possibly, I guess, a Lightning Staff Warden, because you'd be casting lightning to do that, and then you'd be a lot of kind of almost semi-nature based spells to kind of fulfill that shamanistic feel, if you'd like, but I can't think of anything that fits it perfectly. That said, the Rogue is definitely one of mine that any Nightblade can fulfill. Because that's basically, Nightblades are rogues are Nightblades. They fulfill the fantasy of sneaky stab really freaking well, even if you're using a staff. Really good PvP, really good just destroy your enemies kind of a class. Finally, I'm going to go with the Monk. The Monk is pretty much, there's not much that fits it perfectly. Mostly anything dual wield stamina based. Because you're going to focus mainly on abilities that stab, I guess, because we don't really have any Kung Fu flip attacks with staffs that you can do. And the only other way they fought really typically was with dual wield weapons. So nothing that fits the Monk perfectly either. It's unfortunate, but you know, that's kind of how we got it. The other one, and then the only other class that I haven't done so far is the Demon Hunter, which I've never actually played a Demon Hunter, so I can't really give you the class fantasy as easily. Perhaps a Dragon Knight could fit it, maybe. I mean, you do have that one wing ability that gives you demon wings to leap out and attack your enemies, but I don't really know what the fantasy of it was. It was kind of being corrupted by enemy blood, and it was very much specific to World of Warcraft, so I can't make something exactly like that. So, yeah. That's it. Have fun.